let's talk about a skill that's way more powerful than any argument, and honestly, more persuasive than any single fact. It's the art of really listening, and specifically how great lawyers use it to build a story that wins. All right, let's get into it. Just think about it for a second. When was the last time you were in a conversation and felt like the other person was 100% with you, that you were truly, completely heard? It's a rare feeling these days, right? But as we're about to find out, it is absolutely essential. That's right. For trial lawyers, this isn't some feel-good social skill. The ability to make someone feel heard can literally be the difference between winning and losing a massive case. The stakes just don't get any higher. Hemingway just completely nailed it, didn't he? Most of us, if we're being honest, are just waiting for our turn to talk. But today, we're going to dig into what happens when you decide to be one of the few who actually, truly listens. So let's start by getting a handle on the problem, because, and this is no exaggeration, we are living through a genuine crisis of listening. I mean, our attention is just getting hammered from all sides. As trial expert Greg Cusimano and socio-trial expert Professor Brandon Blankenship point out, our world is just this non-stop barrage of pings and dings and people asking for just a minute of our time. It completely shatters our focus. We almost never get the space for deep concentration anymore. And, this isn't just happening at work. It's everywhere. The source material brings up this really common complaint you hear from victims of medical malpractice. The doctors just weren't listening. And it's the exact same for clients with their lawyers. It's this fundamental breakdown in human connection, and it has some really serious consequences. Okay, so what are the real consequences of this? In the incredibly high-stakes world of a courtroom, the cost of not paying attention, of not really listening, well, it can be absolutely devastating. This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, if you're not listening, you might miss that one crucial detail, like a client just casually mentioning they had to sell their car to pay for surgery. That's not just a fact, that's a story. You also lose their trust completely. But on the other side, if you really listen, that's where you find the real story. That's where you build that unshakable confidence, and that's how you pave the way to a win. So why does every single tiny detail matter so much? Well, because, as Greg Cusimano and Professor Blankenship argue, today's jurors often need to be pretty much 100% convinced before they'll side with a plaintiff. They call it moral certainty. And what that means is you simply can't afford to miss a single piece of the puzzle. Every little emotion, every detail you pick up by listening could be the one that gets them there. Okay, so we know why this is so important, but how do you actually do it? Let's break down the actual practical skills of someone who is a genuine listener. Oh man, we are all guilty of these, right? These are the little habits that just scream, I am not interested in what you have to say. Interrupting, trying to finish their sentences for them, or the worst one, topping their story. These are conversation killers. They completely switch the focus from them to you, and they just destroy any chance of real communication. And here's the flip side. This is what you should be doing. Instead of those bad habits, great listeners do this. They show they're engaged. They let people finish their thought all the way through. They follow the thread of the conversation instead of trying to yank it in a new direction. And this last one is so important. They respect the pauses. Sometimes the most important things come out when nobody is talking. And when you start practicing those skills, it leads you right to the whole point of this entire exercise, uncovering the human story. The story that will actually connect with a jury. This is just so important. A trial lawyer who only hears the words is going to miss the entire case. The real story isn't in the bare facts. It's in the pain, the frustration, the way a person's life has been turned upside down. You only get to that level by listening with everything you have, watching their body language, sensing the emotion in their voice. And here is where that deep listening really, really pays off. It helps a lawyer figure out if their client is what Cusimano and Blankenship call a worthy plaintiff. Now, this isn't just a victim. This is the hero of the story. It's not the person who just says, my life is ruined, give me money. No, it's the person who says, look, I tried physical therapy for a year. I looked for a new job I could do. I did everything in my power to get back on my feet. But the defendant refuses to take any responsibility. That is a character a jury instinctively wants to root for and to help. So all of this listening, all of this understanding, it all leads to this final, most powerful step, using what you've heard to truly, genuinely connect with the jury. This might be the most profound idea in the whole source. The authors argue that trying to change a juror's deeply held beliefs is, well, it's impossible. Real persuasion isn't about arguing them out of how they see the world. It's about understanding their worldview so completely that you can frame your client's story in a way that just fits right into it. And this is the brilliant psychological principle behind all of it, from the legendary psychiatrist Dr. Milton Erickson. He taught this simple but incredibly powerful rule: accept and utilize. So first, you accept how someone else sees the world. You don't judge it, you don't fight it, you just accept it. Then you utilize that perspective to build a connection and gently guide them towards your conclusion. And it all starts with listening. And Thoreau just sums it all up so perfectly here. Think about it. There is no greater sign of respect than when someone truly attends to your answer. It's such a simple act, but it fulfills this deep, fundamental human need we all have to be seen and to be understood. So, as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with this one question. In your own life, with your clients, your family, your friends, whose story have you been missing just because you are waiting for your turn to talk? The answer to that, well, it might just change everything.